From Fox 8 Sports, this is the Overtime Podcast.
From the Fox 8 studios in New Orleans, this is the Fox 8 Overtime Podcast. I'm Vasilios, that's Sean Fazan. Remember to like, subscribe, rate, and review. You can find us wherever you listen to and now watch your podcasts. Sean, how are you going? How's it going?
Doing good. Be sure to find us on YouTube, the Fox 8 Overtime Podcast YouTube page. Subscribers have really increased, so we appreciate that. Keep them coming. We'll keep the videos coming. Download, rate, review, subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff.
All of it.
It all helps build this brand and this product also wherever you listen to your podcasts if audio is the way to go for you. All right, Sil. So a lot has happened since the last time we spoke. A lot has happened. So we're going to try to, summarize a few big topics here in a relatively short period of time because the last time we spoke, the Saints had just signed Foster Moreau. A lot has happened since then. Obviously, the great news from Foster Moreau, we talked about that in our last podcast. But then the Saints got their schedule, okay?
Yeah.
Then rookie minicamp, which I was there, happened on Saturday, which we got a few other updates from some other players at that availability from rookie minicamp. So we have schedule stuff, rookie minicamp stuff, and some other news and notes. So, Sil, it's dealer's choice. Which one you want? Schedule first or rookie minicamp first?
Let's go chronologically. Let's go with the schedule release.
All right, let's do that. This is what I know a lot of you guys care a lot about. You probably have started making your fall plans. You probably got your season tickets in order. Maybe you look at a Saints road game to go to, or maybe you just want to see who the Saints play, when they play them. Is it going to be a hard game? Look, I don't use the word easy. I don't use the word easy when it comes to anything in the NFL, especially when it comes to the schedule for a lot of reasons. Here's the main one. I know on paper it looks soft for the Saints because of last year's opponents' records. Remember, the combined or the average winning percentage of their opponents. Remember, the Saints played in the NFC South, the worst record in the NFL a season ago. That is the bulk of their schedule in terms of the overwhelming majority of their opponents. Obviously, are going to come within your division. You play them each twice. So that's one. Two, there is no guarantee that a team that was terrible last year is going to be terrible this year. And I will continue to say this. I have said it once, if I haven't said it 1,000 times. The line between the best team in the NFL and the worst team in the NFL is razor thin. I used to use the touchdown analogy. It's about a touchdown that separates everybody. So if you're out there talking about easy, I just pump the brakes. In saying that, because I just don't like the verbiage, I prefer manageable. I think this is a manageable schedule. If the Saints are able to do what we think they can do, if they are indeed better this season like we think they will be. So with that in mind, let's just go through it. You've seen it by now, but we'll just kind of give our take. Week 1 at home, Tennessee. On the road at Carolina on a Monday night. Then follow that by a road game in Green Bay. That's a tricky one there because it is a short week, road. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you guys this because I travel a lot with the team. That is not easy. It's not easy when you get the full allotment of days. When it's a short week and it's road, that's just something to watch when you go from Carolina to Green Bay. Then come back home against Tampa Bay, from Green Bay to Tampa Bay. So that's nice. Then back on the road at New England, back-to-back road games at New England and at Houston. Then a short week from Houston to New Orleans to play Jacksonville and gets arguably – he's got to be the best quarterback on this schedule that they'll face in Trevor Lawrence, at least on the surface right now. We'll see what happens with some of the rookies, and we'll see what happens
the most accomplished.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the guy like Justin Fields. But as of right now, I think he is the best quarterback on the roster, at least kind of a young, up-and-coming star. Then on the road, Indianapolis. Now, the tricky part, obviously you have the short week from Houston to Jacksonville, but the opposite side of that, you get the longer rest from Jacksonville to Indianapolis. You'd like to be home there, but it's home road. So be it. Still, you get a few extra days of rest. Then back home against Chicago. Then back on the road against Minnesota. Then a bye week. Then at Atlanta. So all those games look manageable. If you were doing win-loss, I mean, that's 11 games.
Yeah.
I think the Saints could realistically be 7-4 or 8-3 at that point. Here's what my concern is. Carolina, Green Bay, New England, Houston, Indianapolis, Minnesota, Atlanta. There are 7 road games in the first 12 weeks. There are 4 home games in the first 12 weeks. That's not easy to manage. No matter how you slice it in the NFL, again, going back to the universal truth of that everything is close, sometimes that could catch up to you. So that's my only little concern. It's probably my biggest concern with the schedule is the amount of road games to start a season, which, as we've seen in years past, the start of the season is quite important when it comes to your New Orleans Saints. Okay, but on the flip side of that, after that Atlanta game, you have 3 straight home games in December, which means if you're doing good or you're able to manage that and you stay above water, you're 6-5, you're 7-4, you're 8-3, boom, 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 3 straight home games. You got to love that. Detroit week 13, Carolina week 14, and the New York Giants week 15. So you like that. Then another short week, the second Thursday game. A lot of you guys did not like this. And look, it's so funny with NFL schedule leaks right now. I'm sure you guys were all checking Twitter as I was. I was on pins and needles all day because I had about 6 or 7 different things that were kind of I was tipped off on. Yeah. But me being me, I wanted to get it confirmed. I wanted to make sure because I didn't want to burn anybody, and I didn't want to. I wanted to make sure it was accurate. And it turns out they all were. But the one thing I was able to report was the Saints have 2 Thursday night games, and the response I got was quite comical from the black and gold. Many thinking that it's Roger Goodell at work. I don't think that, but nonetheless, the Saints will have a second Thursday night game against the Rams. That is Christmas week on a short week, which means they'll be home for the holidays, which I'm sure the players like and the coaches like, and they'll probably have the actual whole entire weekend off. Yeah. The 23rd and the 24th is Saturday, Sunday, and that Monday is Christmas Day. They'll probably have an extended bye or an extended stretch there.
And fans don't have to be anxious about their team on Christmas.
Exactly. Then they go New Year's Eve in Tampa Bay. Not bad. And then back home to close things out against Atlanta. I glossed over this. Week 11 bye week is fantastic. That's fantastic because they've had them too early. Last year, people don't talk about this, but last year the bye week came so late that by the time they were able to reap any benefits from it, they were already in a hole. Remember, they won 3 straight games. 3 straight games after the bye week last year. Remember the game before the bye week was the crazy game in Tampa Bay. They should have won. They ended up losing. We know what happened. They went to the bye week. It was bad. It was bad. Like, there was bad vibes. They came out of the bye week on the other side. And they won 3 straight games. But by that point, it was so far down in the standings. And it was an outside shot at winning the NFC South. But if you get that earlier in the season, maybe you get a little positive momentum and you close things out with a better record. And who knows what happens as far as getting into the postseason. So, overall, I like it. I think they're road warriors early in the season. Road Warriors earlier in the season. I like where the bye week stands. I know 2 Thursday night games are tough, plus the road short week from Monday night. But as I said before, let's just name off the quarterbacks. You ready?
Yeah.
And we'll just, for the sake of this discussion, we'll just go with the rookie first round pick if they have one. We'll call them the starter. Yep. Tennessee. Well, Levis was the second round pick, so I'll go Tannehill. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Then Bryce Young.
He's in that tier. Then Bryce Young, then Jordan Love. I mean, if you're going to get those guys, if those 2 guys are going to be superstars, you'd rather get them in their first couple starts.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, is it Trask or Baker? Either one, I don't know.
It's tough.
Then Mac Jones, who may have a bounce back year. We'll see.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that one.
C.J. Stroud, I'll take it. Trevor Lawrence, we said respect. Richardson, these types of quarterbacks have given the Saints problems in the past, so that could be you got to watch. But they're coming off a mini bye with that. Justin Fields, this is the game that I'm a little iffy about, just because you just never know. I could see, he's got that takeover ability. I don't think he's a great quarterback yet, but I think he's an exceptional playmaker still. So that's interesting. Kirk Cousins, as we've said before, he is the most comparable, in our opinion, to Derek Carr. Yep. In that range of quarterbacks. Bye week, Atlanta. Is it Desmond Ritter? I guess, or Heineke. Then Jared Goff, Bryce Young, Daniel Jones. Again, another one in that kind of
mid-tier.
Yeah. Stafford. Okay. I failed to mention Stafford.
Yeah, he's probably the most.
He might be the best. Okay, he
Yeah.
might be the best quarterback on the schedule, especially if he's healthy. Let's go Stafford then Lawrence.
Yeah.
Tampa again, so either Baker or Trask again, and then Desmond Ridder or Taylor Heineke again. So
yeah, I mean, in terms of those quarterback matchups, I mean, you the top three are Stafford, Lawrence, and Cousins, and I mean, you feel pretty good as a Saints fan going in there.
There's a couple wild cards in there. You don't know what's going to happen with Richardson. You don't know what's going to happen with Fields, but
none of those guys are penciled in for the Hall of Fame just yet, so you feel pretty good.
So I feel good. And look, I said it in the blog. I said, I went through each game, and I went through it again just so I wasn't doing like the kind of giving the benefit of the doubt to the Saints. I just wanted to kind of give it to. So I think I'd be disappointed if they weren't 10-7 at least. I think 10-7 is the floor.
Yeah, I think that they definitely made improvements. We need to see those improvements in motion and on the field, not just on paper, before we can make any serious predictions. But I'm with you. I think that this team is, again, on paper, better than last year. So there's no reason they shouldn't have a market improvement in record.
Again, not easy, but manageable. I think that's really the way you have to go, because all these teams, and knock on wood, they're all a couple of injuries away from having their seasons really get devastated. So that's just the way that goes. All right, let's veer topics, because we got to see a little on-field work. Not as much on-field work, though, that I was expecting to see with
Minicamp.
Rookie Minicamp this weekend. Our access was a little bit limited than last year, I believe. We were able to watch the entire practice. This year, our cameras go in and shoot a little bit of like routes on air and stretching, but they never get to stay for the whole thing. But we're able to usually watch the practice. But this year, we were only able to stay an extra period. And so I didn't get to see any team, any 7-on-7. So everything I have from this is basically the eyeball test. But I do think there were a couple people that passed the eyeball test with soaring colors. Are you ready for a story?
I'm ready.
Okay. So they bring us from the media room to the indoor facility. They kind of move us, and then we enter from the back entrance to the indoor facility. We walk in. We kind of get resettled. I get in. I kind of set my bag down. I look up. The first thing I see, I look up, and because I didn't have a roster on me, I said, "Who's 90? Who's 90?" And a couple people are kind of like, they're kind of fidgeting through the roster. Look, I said, "Who is 90?" And then I looked down. I think Madeline was there because I got an extra roster here. So I looked down. 90 was Brian Brzee. Brzee looked phenomenal. Physically, he looks in fantastic shape. He looks like to be in fantastic shape. You never know when you're talking about a guy listed at a certain weight, height. Sometimes they come in out of shape, especially if you're dealing with an injury, especially when you're dealing with personal issues that he had to deal with. But, I mean, he looked to be – I don't know if he's looked – I haven't followed his whole career, so I can't say this is the best shape he's ever looked. But he looked like the way a defensive tackle is supposed to look in the NFL. No, wasn't overweight, put together solidly. So, physically, he looked impressive, as did second-round pick Isaiah Foskey. Because right when I saw him, I immediately went to, all right, let me find the second-round pick, because both those guys – they were physically imposing guys. That's what part of the sell was. And both those guys passed that test.
That's what they needed, man.
In flying colors. Some other little things that I saw. Watched a lot of Jay Kaner because he was one of two quarterbacks there. Accurate. He is small. There's no doubt about that. Got a good time. I only saw routes on air. Ball placement looked pretty well. Looked like he did decent with that. Not quite a power thrower. They ran a deep dig route. They call it the dagger concept. They run a seam, they run a dig behind it. Not quite the zip on that throw, but still effective. We talked to him after. By the way, we talked to all those guys. I said it when they were drafted. There's a good aura about those guys that they drafted just when you speak to them. And he was one of those guys. You certainly felt that as well. I asked Dennis Allen about it. He said, from the neck up is where he's very intelligent. So from the neck up, everything that they thought checked out. So look, it might be the most extensive action we see of him until preseason. But it wasn't bad. So I wish I had more, other than the fact that they, like I said before, they were gonna cut a few guys that they signed from the undrafted ranks and sign a future tryout guys. They did that today. They signed Adrian. Let me pull out my Twitter here. They signed. Just bear with me. They signed Adrian Fry, a DB, a running back, Ellis Merriweather, and they waived Cy Barnett and Vincent Gray. I remember Barnett was a guy from a small school that they had signed in undrafted ranks. They also signed James Washington, the veteran wide receiver guy as well, who, you had a veteran to the mix. I think that was certainly needed. So it was really all I could get from rookie minicamp. It was it's orientation. It's freshman orientation.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
What it is. That's what it is. But afterwards, we did get some information from Dennis Allen. And he talked about a lot of things, Foster Moreau, the schedule. But he also brought up Michael Thomas, and I figured this would be a good thing to talk about today because, as we have said in the past, what did I say about workout videos when it comes to Michael Thomas?
Don't believe the hype. We
don't overreact to workout videos. And Dennis Allen let us all know that the Saints receiver, Michael Thomas, had a piece of hardware removed from his, foot or whatever it is, a week and a half ago. Mickey Loomis at the Saints Hall of Fame golf tournament today said he was asked if this is a normal part of the process. He said yeah, but you can tell they don't want to talk too much about the injuries.
Yeah.
Let's hope that it is. And this is just the normal recovery time, although it's been a long time for the foot or the toe or whatever he's been dealing with. But that's an update, so we'll see. But at this point, he's back when he's back. I know we'll probably ask about his recovery quite a bit over the next couple of weeks and months, and we'll see what we see of him. But he'll be back when he's back. I just think at this point of his career, it's probably foolish to expect a full 17-game season out of Michael Thomas. I just think the last 3 years, it can't all just be bad luck.
You said in a podcast a couple months ago, you're not expecting anything of that sort out of Michael Thomas again.
Right, and honestly, and that's why you saw probably the signing today. That's why I've always said the wide receiver room is a wild card, because there's a lot of things that could be great. There's a lot of things that could kind of stink and be like, oh, wow, you're searching for someone there. So there's a lot riding on it, but I guess you just got to wait and see. I love Olave. I liked A.T. Perry, the rookie. And look, everyone wants Michael Thomas to be back, but at some point he's either back or he's not. The eternal, purgatory of waiting to see where he's at in his recovery, I think most people have just kind of, we'll see what happens, and when he's back, he's back. I guess kind of on the bright side, too, is that the Saints have spent so much time without him the last couple of seasons that they already know how to move forward without him if they have to. Well, yeah, they've been forced to, but he's been so good. No, 100%. They're better with him. Even in the window he played this year, after basically a year and a half of not playing, was fantastic, and then he got hurt again. So it's just that's where you're at with it. You've got to expect, if he comes back at some point, his durability is going to be an issue, and whatever you get out of him, it's likely going to be a bonus, because I don't see how you can realistically expect anything more in a full 17-game season. If he does, great, fantastic, and we'll all look like idiots, and I will gladly look like an idiot for saying it. Same. But right now, that's just where things stand. So when he's back, he's back. Speaking of back, we'll be back later this week with another pod. So, Sil, how about you send us home? All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Remember to like, share, review, subscribe, everything. You guys can find us wherever you listen to and now watch your podcasts. For Sean, I'm Vasilios. This has been the Fox 8 Overtime Podcast. See you guys next time.